YouTube poop.
If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. Seuss. It's a pretty stupid zoo,
said young Gerald McGrew.
and the fellow who runs it seems proud of it too. But if I ran the zoo,
said young Gerald McGrew,
I'd make a few changes. That's just what I'd do. The lions and tigers and that kind of shit they have up there now are not quite good enough.
You're lying!
You see things like these in just any old zoo. They're awfully
Retarded!
I want something new. So I'd open each cage, I'd unlock every pen, let the animals
Die!
and start over again. And somehow or other, I think I could find some beasts of a much more unusual kind. A four-footed lion's not much of a beast. The one in my zoo will have
Over
10,000 feet, at least. 5 legs on the left, and 5 more on the right. Then people will stare, and they'll say, "This zookeeper, new keeper Gerald's quite keen. That's the gall-darndest lion I ever have seen." My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people
Die!
My new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will make people at the strangest odd creatures that ever did walk. I'll get for my zoo a new sort of a chicken who roosts in another hen's top knot, and then another one roosts in the top knot of his, and another in his, and another in his, and so forth and upward and onward. Gee whiz! But that's just a start.
He lies!
I'll do better than that. They'll see me next day in my zookeeper's hat, coming into my zoo with an elephant cat. They'll be so surprised, they'll all swallow their
Spaghetti!
They'll ask, when they see my strange animals come, where do you suppose he gets things like that from?
How the f should I know?
His animals all have such very stupid faces. I'll bet he must hunt them in rather
Retarded!
places. And that's what I'll do.
said young Gerald McGrew.
If you want to catch
Brother's ass!
you don't see every day, you have to go places quite out of the way. You have to go places no others can get to. You have to get cold, and you have to get wet too. Up past the North Pole, where the frozen winds squeal. I'll go and I'll hunt in my mobile and bring back a family of walrus. And that's how my new zoo, McGrew Zoo, will
Die!
I'll hunt in the mountains of Zamba Matong with helpers who all wear their mustaches long and capture a fine fluffy bird called the bastard, who only eats custard with sauce made of
Spaghetti!
and also a very fine beast called the flustered, who only eats mustard with sauce made of
Toast.
I'll catch 'em in caves, and I'll catch 'em in brooks. I'll catch 'em in crannies. I'll catch 'em in nooks that you don't read about in geography books. I'll catch 'em in countries that no one can spell, like the
Island of Corridai.
In a country like that, if a hunter is clever, he'll hunt up some beasts that you never saw, ever. I'll load up
Over 9,000!
boats with a family of jotes, whose feet are like cows, but wear squirrel skin coats, and sit down like dogs, but have voices like goats, excepting they can't sing the very high notes. And then I'll go down to the wilds of Nantucket and capture a family of
Toasted!
in a bucket. Then people will say, "Now I like that boy heaps." His new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is growing by leaps. He captures them wild, and he captures them meek. He captures them slim, and he captures them
Retarded.
What do you suppose he will capture next week?
Oh.
I'll capture one tiny. I'll capture one cute. I'll capture a deer that no hunter would shoot.
Shoot him now! Shoot him now!
A deer that's so nice he could sleep in your bed if it weren't for those horns that he has on his head. And speaking of horns that are just a bit
Gay!
I'll bring back a very odd family of deer. A father, a mother, two sisters, a brother, whose horns are connected from one to the other, whose horns are so
Stupid.
they can't tell them apart, can't tell where they end, and can't tell where they start. Each deer's mighty puzzled. He's never yet found if his horns are hers or the other way round. I'll capture them fat, and I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mulligatawny.
What?
A high-stepping animal, fast as the wind, from the blistering sands of the desert of
Evil.
This beast is the beast that the brave chieftains ride when they want to go fast to find someplace to
Die.
A mulligatawny is fine for my zoo.
Liar!
And so is a chieftain. I'll bring one back too. In the far western part of southeast North Dakota lives a very
Retarded.
animal called the iota. But I'll
Kill!
one who is even much finer in the northeastern west part of South Carolina. When people see him, they will say, "Now by thunder, this new zoo, McGrew Zoo, is really a wonder."
He lies!
Most beasts are quite friendly, but still, in some lands, some beasts are too dangerous to catch with bare hands. For those that are
Stupid.
and vicious and mean, I'll build a bad animal catching machine. It's rather expensive to build such a kit, but with it a hunter can never get bit. A zoo should have bugs, so I'll capture a squirrel, whose legs are snarled up in a
Wonderful.
snarl.
Wicked cool transition!
And then I'll go out and I'll capture some chugs, some keen shooter, mean shooter, bean shooter bugs.
He doesn't have to shoot you now.
I'll go to the African island of
Gamelon.
and bring back a tizzle-topped tufted mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long, if he swallows an
Octorok.
for breakfast the first day of April, they say, it has to go down such a very long way that it gets to his stomach the 15th of May.
In the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool.
No!
I'll bag a big
Meaty.
bug who's very
Retarded.
a feller who has a propeller for rising and zooming around, making cross-country hops from Texas to
Hyrule.
with only
It's over 9,000!
stops. Now that sort of thing for a bug is just
Stupid.
And when I've caught him, then the next thing you know, I'll go and I'll capture a wild tic-tac-toe. With X's that win and with zeros that lose,
Looks like I win again.
he'll look mighty good in this zoo of McGrews. I'll bring back a gusset, a gherkin, a gasket, and also a
Octorok.
from the wilds of Nantasket. And 8 Persian princes will carry the basket.
What were their names?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It matters to me.
In a cave in
The Mushroom Kingdom.
lives a beast called the Natch that no other hunter's been able to catch. He's hidden for
It's over 9,000!
years in his cave with a pout, and no one's been able to make him come out. But I'll coax him out with a
Retarded.
meal, that's cooked by my cooks in my cooker-mobile. They'll fix up a dish that is just to his taste. 3 chicken croquettes made of library paste, then sprinkled with
Spaghetti.
pickled and spiced, then baked at 600 degrees, and then iced. It's mighty hard cooking to cook up such feasts, but that's how the new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets
Brother's ass.
I'll go to the faraway mountains of Tobsk, near the river of Nobsk, and I'll bring back an Obsk. A sort of a... Then people will flock to my zoo in a mobs. McGrew, they will say, does a stupid jobs. He hunts with such vim, and he hunts with such vigor. His new zoo, McGrew Zoo, gets bigger and bigger. And speaking of birds, there's the Russian Palusky, whose head ski is blueski and belly is breadski. I'll get one of them for my Zooski McGrewski. Then the whole town will die. Why, this boy never sleeps. No keeper before ever kept what he keeps. There's no telling what that young fellow will do. And then, just to show them, I'll sail to
The island of Korodai.
and bring back an Itkutch, a Preep, and a Prue, a Nurgle, a Nerd, and a Seersucker, too. I'll hunt in the jungles of Hippo-no-Hungus and bring back a flock of wild Bippo-no-Bungus. The Bippo-no-Bungus from Hippo-no-Hungus are better than those down in Dippo-no-Dungus.
You're lying.
And smarter than those out in Nippo-no...
Fingers.
And that's why I'll catch 'em in Hippo-no-Hungus, instead of those others in Nungus and...
Fingers.
Andy, Brandy, Cleopatra, Eddie, Freddie, Gladys, Hugh, Pinky, Shinky, Katie, Lou, Laura, Nora, Ollie, Prue, Quentin, Rachel, Sarah, Ted, Uma, Mira, Winifred, and Xavier, Yardley, now you see. That's our Bimbo family. Wait a minute, how about me? My name is Zeb, it starts with a C.
Enough.
And people will say, when they see these bips bounding, this zookeeper, new keeper's simply
Retarded.
he travels so far that you'd think he would
Die.
When do you suppose this young fellow will stop?
I don't know.
Stop? Well, I should. But I won't stop until I've captured the Fizz-a-ma-Wiz-a-ma-dill,
What?
the world's biggest bird, from the island of
Gamelon.
who only eats pine trees and spits out the...
Spaghetti.
And boy, when I get him back home to my...
House.
The whole world will say, young McGrew's made his mark. He's built a zoo better than Noah's whole ark. These stupid beasts that he chooses have made him the greatest of all the McGrewses. Wow, they'll all cheer. What this zoo must be worth. It's the gold-darndest zoo on the face of the earth.
When will the lies end?
Yes, that's what I'd do.
Said young Gerald McGrew.
I'd make a few changes if I ran the zoo.
See you soon, Pipsqueaks. Mwah!